Bouanne Vier Noué, à So this video is going to be about Christmas in Jersey. Now, nowadays Christmas in Jersey is just like Christmas anywhere else in the UK, with your turkeys and your presents under the Christmas tree, but traditionally it hasn't always been so. In the past we've had our own customs and traditions. So to start off with, on the 23rd of December, so the eve of Christmas Eve, there was an event called La Longue Veille, or the long night. And this was an event where women would get together, usually in each other's kitchens, and they would knit garments and jumpers all day and way into the night, usually until midnight or early in the morning, in order to knit as much as possible in order to put on the Christmas market that would open the next day. And the woman would usually use this opportunity to not only get as much knitting done as possible, but also to chat and to gossip and sing and tell each other's stories and eat lardo four. Father Christmas, or as he was known in Jersey as Papa Noé, would fly into Jersey, or go to Jersey, and would collect as many second-hand toys as possible, and closer to Christmas Eve he would distribute them amongst the children of less fortunate or poorer houses. Some other traditions is that on Christmas Eve it's considered unlucky to walk into a cowshed in case you happen upon the cows kneeling in adoration of Christ at the Nativity. On New Year's Day, it was considered unlucky or insulting to wash one's hair, one's clothes, because it was seen at the time to be washing away a member of one's family. There's a story in this wonderful book, Jersey, which is Ghosts and Traditions by Sonia Hillsdon. As late as 1982, there was a girl who had washed her hair on New Year's Day, and her family was so insulted that they refused to talk to her for the rest of the day. Now on Christmas Day itself, typically, as in the rest of Britain, this was typified with lots of eating and a bountiful feast of pork, roast beef, goose, puddings, and mountains of cake to accompany tea. Now, the longest kept tradition in Jersey, or at least in Western Jersey, is the ringing of the church bells from midday on Christmas Eve all the way to midnight of Christmas Day, just non-stop ringing of the bells in the parish church of St. Juan, St. Peter and St. Mary. This tradition dates back to the 16th century during the War of the Roses, when France invaded and occupied Jersey for 7 years. And when the French left in winter, the youth of the island celebrated by ringing the church bells of said parishes non-stop throughout Christmas Day. Now, this tradition almost came to an end in the 1850s because a rector of one of these parish churches, or the parish church of St. Mary, was very fed up with this non-stop ringing of the bells throughout Christmas Day, because the bell ringers usually liked to drink a lot of alcohol whilst they were ringing the bells, so they ended up becoming quite rowdy and overzealous when they were pulling on the bell rope. So one Christmas Eve, the bell ringers turned up to St. Mary's parish church, but they found that the door was locked, so they decided to literally batter their way in. They smashed through the door, And not only did they find that the rector had locked the door and barricaded the door, he had also taken away the bell rope and the bell clamp. So one of the bell ringers says, right, you go to town and get some bell rope or any old rope, and I'll go to the blacksmith and have him quickly hammer up a bell clamp. So they quickly scattered around and got everything they needed. And that Christmas morning, the Grinch rector was unfortunately awoken to the very loud sound of bells ringing away on Christmas Eve, and that would continue, as I said, all the way through Christmas night. And thereafter, that rector wasn't particularly liked by the parish for trying to stop that Christmas tradition. This tradition of bell ringing is still continued today. In Jersey, there's a community walk from St. Juan's Parish Church to St. Peter's Parish Church to St. Mary's, ringing the bells. There's a lot less drinking, there's a lot less controversy. Another tradition for children on Christmas Day, in order for them to make a bit more pocket money, they would, much like the American version of Halloween, they would go around the neighbourhood and they would shout "Noué, Noué, mon Noué," play, which basically means it's Christmas, my Christmas box, if you please. And their Christmas box would be a little box, and people would put money in it. Although this tradition isn't practiced anymore today, and in Sonia Hillsdon's book, she records the last known event of this happening being in the 60s. But Christmas wasn't always celebrated on the 25th of December. In 1752, Britain changed from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, which at the time brought the date back, so to say, 11 days, which therefore meant that what people used to celebrate Christmas on was at the time the 6th of January in the new Gregorian calendar, which coincided with the date of the Epiphany. Now, places on the periphery of Britain carried on celebrating this old Christmas on the dates that they had been celebrating on for centuries. This traditional date of celebrating Christmas continued in the Scottish Highlands and the island of Shetland in a day known as Nollaig Fiach, if I pronounce that right, and in Ireland as Nollaig na Man, and in the Isle of Man as simply Old Christmas Day. In Jersey, because we weren't an incorporated part of the United Kingdom, and because we had our own native language of Jerriais Norman, we also carried on celebrating Christmas on the old date of 6th of January. This day ended up becoming known as Vier Noué, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video. However, this date was superseded by the new date of the 25th of December during the 19th century, and wasn't really practiced at all after World War I. I hope you found this video informative. I was thinking of filming at a more interesting location, but it's the middle of winter and we're in a semi-lockdown, so I hope some horses in a grubby muddy field would do. So yeah, happy 2021 everyone.